Hi everybody. You know, I've been working on a project, nothing to do with what we normally do, stained glass. And whilst I was looking at it, I found a steel wool pad that was so rusted it virtually disintegrated. I'm going to take that steel wool. I'm going to use this piece of calico. It's been washed and that's why it's all wrinkly. All of the sizing has been taken out. And I'm going to see what I come up with. Here's my stained glass project. Over here, this mess is steel wool. It's gone rusty. Let's see. Just gotten a little bowl with some water. I'm going to add a bit of vinegar, plain white vinegar, to it and just let it soak for a little while. Just going to give it a good mix around. The vinegar in the water will just help it to set, I hope. So I'm going to just pop it out now. I've got in a tray so I can't make a mess. I'll put this down. Here we go. So I'm hoping this will make interesting marks. It may not. But I'm hoping it will. So I don't want it to dry out too quickly before it's done anything. Splash some more of this on there. And now I'm going to cover it, just so that it doesn't dry too quickly before it's done something. I hope it will do something. May not. And we'll see. I could just do it like that, couldn't I? I don't think it is doing a lot. But it will take time, no matter what happens. It needs time to react with that vinegar and the water, and to make some marks on the fabric. We may need to add some other interesting rusty bits. You could add rusty nails or, well, screws, any kinds of bits of flaked rust off something. Maybe we'll add some other interesting elements. So just in case our steel wool doesn't work, I'm going to add a few extra bits of flaked rust. Really, it's just an excuse to get all mucky, isn't it? But right, I'll come back to it and see. And why waste an experiment? I'm going to put this paper down. Tissue paper. Oh, I hope it does something. We'll see. Well, it rained a little bit on my experiment, but it only adds to the beauty. This is the paper that was on top. I think the white bits are where the rain, washed all of the rust to other areas. Here's the fabric underneath. The steel wool will just, and all of the flakes of rust will just shake off. Let's wash it and see what happens. Here it is here. Beautiful marks, really. I like it. And when I washed it, nothing came out of it, no colour. So that's a success. I really like it. Let's iron it now and see what it looks like. I ironed both the paper and the fabric, and I'm very happy with what I've got. These two match beautifully. I think we could really make something beautiful out of this. Can you see on the paper on the left the white patches? That will be where the rain has washed that colour down, and the dark areas are where the colours have concentrated. Now I did have one accident. I've got a little tear. I don't particularly care. I'll make a bigger tear and just see what happens. Maybe I can overlap it. Does it look any good with the fabric underneath? You can hardly see it. If it was on a darker area, perhaps, like that. But let's just rip this paper and see how we can use it. How the two of them look together. See, I really can see that contrast now of the white bits against the darker fabric. I think that works well. And I could put another piece here. What beautiful organic natural colours this makes. We started off with just calico, which is a unbleached creamy colour, and a whitish, heavy tissue paper, and we've gotten these lovely markings from just bits of rust that were around, and an old steel wool pad. I'm going to start just attaching these bits together. I'm just going to use some white PVA glue, do a bit of a line like that. I'm going to stitch through it later, but I just thought, well, that will hold that there, so that I'll end up with this lovely background that I can later think of doing something to. Pop that one down too. And then when I look at it, I think, what else? It's all the one colour so far. What could I add to it? I'm thinking maybe something dark, something light, and because that's all middle kind of colours that we're looking at. But let's glue this down for a start. You don't know where we'll end up, but it's a good background for something. Very useful. You could use this in much smaller pieces in something, but I've decided to make something big out of it. Now you can water down PVA glue, white craft glue, and it will adhere quite well to fabric. But I don't really want to get that wet. What I've picked out now are two different things here. The light, shiny gold tissue paper, and below it, that's a real dark green. It's a sort of a fibre sheet for scrapbooking papers. Don't go past scrapbooking papers for these lovely effects. So I'm just going to cut something out, a wavy line. Let's see what happens. It does add that wonderful contrast. I could use that. I could imagine that as something. We'll have another and just see. Just snipping it with my scissors, not going for a particular shape. Wavy lines work best if you're doing something natural. There we go. Perhaps sometimes it might look better under that edge of the paper. The glue is not wet yet, so I can easily lift it. But I want some of this in too, I think, this tissue paper. And if you wrinkle it, it just has this beautiful effect. And it would really catch the light. I think that can go into our design as well. So I'm going to crinkle up some of this lovely tissue paper. Gift wrapping tissue, another easy, cheap thing that you can get that looks really great once it's glued and stitched down to your design. Right now I'm deciding where I could possibly imagine this dark green could go. You can see through it in places, you see, that's why I like it. And yeah, something like that, I think. And I am going to lift the edge of this tissue paper up and just poke the edge of the green underneath. Just like that. Just have a bit of it showing. Creates a nice edge, doesn't it? Look at that. Great. Let's have a look at that gold tissue. I'm going to just rip some bits out and just see what kind of shape I end up with. I'm just going to let the paper decide for itself how it wants to be ripped and what we'll end up with. You can always change it later, but it gives you a starting point, doesn't it? I'm looking at that and thinking, yeah, I would like that to be, allow bits of the fabric out, but also have that lovely textured gold tissue paper showing. You know, so I'm going to glue it down as well. And yeah, I'll probably end up trying to add some of those creases, crinkle it a little bit more. I want a little bit more to show of the background, so I'm just going to take a bit more out. I like it at the top. It's a real highlight, isn't it? Right then, let's add some glue. I was using this earlier to hold my bit of steel wool, and some of it is still there. I'm just going to mix some glue into that. Maybe it'll add some more colour over time, who knows. Worth a go. And I'm just going to add a bit underneath, just to start adhering it where I wanted it to. As I said, I could use a much sloppier mix, half water, half glue, and it would adhere perfectly. But at the moment, I'm just happy to get it down where I think I might want. And that will give me more ideas to come back to. I'm not going to complete it today. I just want to get a start, something that I can look at and visualize. I'm going to, use the paintbrush and the glue here, and I'm just going to make a few more wrinkles and push bits together and expose a bit more of that background fabric. I like it like that. And use a bit of that leftover steel wool crumbles in the glue and hope that that does something on the top. Can you see here when I'm trying to ruche it up a little bit? Because I just love that texture. So a little glue underneath this other piece, a little bit on top. If those rusty bits that are left in the glue show up, that's fine. Don't much care. But I'm thinking this is something interesting. I can really imagine what it can be. But I will add these bits and then come back to it when it's dry. Come back another day and see what I might want to do. But can you see how we have added a lighter color that will catch the light and be a highlight. And we've added a darker colour that will be the shadow. And these combinations work well. So go ahead and experiment. Make some nice rusty paper and some nice rusty fabric. It is so easy and quick. If you don't have something rusty, make your own. Pop some nails or something that will rust into water, and it will happen very quickly, I assure you. And you will have some dynamic pieces to use for your textile artwork, scrapbooking, slow stitching. You know, these are lovely things that can be used, and it will be your own design. So we'll have a look at a few close-ups here. I think we'll come back to this. It's too much for one video. We'll play with this in another video and finish it off and make a whole picture out of it. I've really enjoyed making this. I hope you give it a go. Don't forget, if you do like this, press like, subscribe to my channel if you wish, and we'll do something more fun and inventive next time. Thanks again for watching.